Let's return now to the fallout of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Joining me live now is the former chair of the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, Stephen Loosley. Stephen, a long-time observer of US politics and US history. Sadly, this is the latest episode of political violence in that country.
Yes, and of attempts to murder the President of the United States, Kieran. Which is an appalling repetition of incidents that date right back to 1835, when a deranged man endeavoured to assassinate President Andrew Jackson in the East Portico of the then Capitol. Fortunately, both his pistols misfired, and the gunman was wrestled to the ground. One of the witnesses, according to legend, was Congressman Davy Crockett of Tennessee. So we have dating from that the murder of four American presidents and any number of assassination attempts, sometimes by stray dog assassins, sometimes those with ideological grievances, sometimes outright conspiracies, as in the murder of Abraham Lincoln, for example, and the attempted murder of Harry Truman. This is a dark day for American politics. It's a dark day for global politics, given some of the other assassinations that have occurred around the world of recent years.
Stephen, it was a tragedy in the sense that one 50-year-old volunteer firefighter, he lost his life, but it could have been a great calamity if Donald Trump was to be killed yesterday. You really struggle to think about just how bad the consequences would have been in terms of the violence, the retribution, the chaos.
Tragic and terrible had the assassin succeeded, Kieran. You're absolutely right. And it may be that there was an intervention by a local sheriff who disturbed the gunman just prior to him opening fire. That might have meant he wasn't able to settle and take his time in terms of the prepared shooting of the president. Innocent people have suffered. The fireman dying while sheltering his family, and I commend Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania for some very measured and moving remarks about what happened. We still have people injured critically, but the idea that a lone gunman can decapitate the leader of one of the American major political parties is unthinkable, except it is so real. And we've seen this before, and there'll be an upgrade in security, and we need to learn some lessons from this here in Australia too, Kieran.
It's been a number of decades since a gunman has been able to get that close to a president or a former president to do this, given the steel wall of security that Secret Service provide around their leaders. So in many ways, it is so believable that this happened and not that shocking. But in other ways, it is, given how much security there is around a modern day president in the United States, Stephen.
There is, but a determined assassin can get that clear field of fire, it seems, which is what happened out in Pennsylvania. And don't forget, Karen, it was an attempt on President Obama's life that was the most recent endeavour to assassinate the president. We've seen this recurring. In 2011, for example, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords of Arizona was shot at point-blank range while campaigning in Tucson. So you have these circumstances, and we really need to look at better protecting people in public office, not only in the United States, where given the prevalence of guns, it is absolutely pressing, but look at what's happened in the United Kingdom with two MPs, one Labor, one Conservative, murdered. Former Prime Minister of Japan was murdered, and so it goes. So I think the democracies generally have to learn from this awful experience.
And just finally, the Republican National Convention this week, it will formally nominate Donald Trump as their nominee. Millimetres from death now to be crowned the nominee, and many view him now really the prohibitive favourite to win the presidential election in November.
Donald Trump is the most likely political candidate for the presidency since Grover Cleveland returned to win a second term. It's not certain; nothing ever is. But the simple fact of the matter is, the attempted assassination will breathe additional life into the Trump campaign in terms of momentum, in terms of fundraising, and in terms of turnout in November. There's no question that you see those photos taken in the aftermath of the attempted murder of former President Trump. No doubt the impact in campaigning, and the Republican Party is already using some of those photos for fundraising purposes. It's going to be a major feature of the presidential campaign. Now, President Biden has been very measured. He's called for calm. He is performing in a presidential manner, as you'd expect. But I think momentum is with the Republicans, with former President Trump, as a consequence of this attempted slaying.
Stephen Loosley, thank you. Appreciate it.